All right, here we are with our third to last problem. Okay, so we have negative x squared plus 9y squared. So we're doing another conic section where we've got completing the square to happen. So what we want to do again is we want to get this, any non-x or y terms we want to move to the opposite side. And we're going to group together any x's we have over on the left at the same time. Okay, so we have negative x squared minus 2x in one set of parentheses, and then we have 9y squared and 54y in another, and then 0 minus 71 is negative 71. So what we do to complete this square is, in the first one, remember we can't have anything in front of the x squared, so we actually want to go through and factor out that negative. So we're going to do that. So we have x squared plus 2x. And same thing in the y's. We don't want to have anything in front of the y squared, so we're going to factor out the 9. And 6y equals negative 71. And now we're going to go through and complete that square, and we're going to complete that square as well. So half of 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1, so we add a 1, but there's a negative in front of this, so we actually have to multiply by negative 1. Then, to complete this square, half of 6 is 3, and 3 squared is 9, so we add 9, but there's a 9 in front of this. So we get negative x plus 1 squared plus 9 times y, whoops, I didn't put it in here, plus 3 squared equals, all right, so let's do this here. 9 times 9 is 81. 81 minus 71 is 10, and 10 minus 1 is 9. All right, so last step, we're almost in standard form, but the last step that we have to do, so you guys can see this, is divide by 9 everywhere. Standard form is we have 1 on the right and everything else on the left. So when we do that, we get 1 y plus 3 squared, so those cancel out, and negative x plus 1 squared over 9 with a plus. Okay, so what we have here, we have opposite signs, which means that we have a hyperbola, and the center of this hyperbola, let's write that here, so it's a hyperbola because we have one negative term and one positive. So the center of this hyperbola is at negative 1, negative 3. So let's draw a graph. So then because we have, if we want to write it in true standard form, that's 3 squared plus 3, 1 squared, 1. Okay, so now, whichever, we're going to draw our box. So let's go draw this here. Kind of all over the map right now. The fact that I have the Eiffel Tower behind me is a little distracting. Okay, so here we go. The center, like we said, is at negative 1, negative 3, and I just realized that you all couldn't see that, so let's move it up a little bit. Let's get the center in there. Okay, so here we go. Negative 1, negative 3 as the center. Now, we have a 3 underneath the x, so we're going 3, 1, 2, 3 to the right, and 3 to the left, and putting dots there. And there's a 1 directly under y, so we're going up 1 and down 1. And then this one, because we have a hyperbola, we're drawing a box through all of these, and then connecting the diagonals with a line, both sets of diagonals. Now, you can see here that the y is the positive 1, which means that the curve opens up in the up and down direction. So over here, what we end up with is a curve that goes like this. Okay, and remember you want to get really close to the asymptotes but not actually touching them. Okay, so that's that. So again, if you guys have questions, we're going to continue reviewing, but please come see me in class if you have additional questions. Let's go ahead and do number 48 on here as well, and we'll see if we can kind of breeze through this one. So 5x squared minus 2y squared minus 10x minus 45 equals 0. So same concept here. We want to get all the x's and y's on the left side and everything else on the right and go from there. So we're going to group together. Let's get this 45 over to the right first, and then we'll group together 5x squared and 10x. There's no other y to group with this negative 2y squared. So we're just going to leave that alone, and it's okay that we don't have anything to complete the square. It actually makes our jobs a little easier. So Again, we can't have anything directly in front of that x squared, so we're going to factor out a 5, and we're left with x squared minus 2x. Leave a space. Again, because there's no y by itself, that makes our jobs a little easier. We don't have a square for the y's to complete, and that's perfectly fine. So, here we go. Half of 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1, so we add 1, and it's being multiplied by a 5, so we do that over there. Then, we end up with 5 times x minus 1 squared minus 2y squared equals 50. And again, standard form means you have everything on the left and the number 1 on the right. So the way that we're going to accomplish that is to divide everything by 50. So we get 1, this reduces to y squared over 25, and this reduces to x minus 1 squared over 10. Okay, make sure you guys can still see that. Again, if we're reducing our numbers here. Okay, so if we want to make sure that we're writing this in terms of numbers squared, there's no perfect square root of 10, so we actually write it as the square root of 10 squared. And we write 25 as 5 squared. Let's get that up a little bit. And we're going to go through, let's draw our graph. The center of this one, we have opposite signs again, so we have a hyperbola. The center of this hyperbola is at 1, 0, and then we're going to use the numbers underneath. The square root of 10 is somewhere, it's approximately 3.5, so we're going somewhere in between the square root of 9 and the square root of 16, or 3 and 4, which is about 3.5. Okay, so center at 1, 0, and let's go ahead and draw this. Our axes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, whoops, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the center is at 1, 0, so go to the right one, put a dot. We're going about 3.5 to the right and 1, 2, 3.5 to the left. We're going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going down 4, 5. And we put a box, dotted box through all of these points that we just added to our graph. Connect the diagonal, so this all should be review from our fantastic hyperbola videos. And then in this one, the x happens to be positive, so we're opening in the x direction. So let me move this up a little bit so you all can see. So again, the x is positive, so we're taking our x points that we put on there, which are now called our vertices, and we're drawing the curve directly through there. Okay, so not too bad. So you look at the choices that are given to you, and that's the one that you go with. All right, I'm going to switch over to another video, and we are going to wrap it up. We only have 49 and 50 left.